Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me today to talk about the game of the week is going to be Vincent Turner himself and my dude, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, you guys?
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Hey, doing great, Jeremiah.
So tell me, guys, what is up with Georgia and Arkansas this week?
I'll let Mr. Logan start.
Let's do it, man. Hey, we have a great game coming up this week between the UGA Georgia Bulldogs in our backyards in Atlanta, Georgia, going up against the Arkansas Razorbacks. We got a bit of an underdog battle here.
We'll bring Logan here back in just a second when we get our signal back. Mr. Turner, I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment.
He's got some good knowledge.
Yes, sir.
All right, Logan, why don't you jump back in there?
Yeah, man. So, like I said, man, Vincent Turner, we're going to break this great game down between the powerhouse UGA Bulldogs and the underdog, the Arkansas Razorbacks, in this game of David versus Goliath, I like to say. So, Mr. Turner, first off, easy question, a little softball for you. How do you think the Arkansas Razorbacks will come up against the UGA Bulldogs this weekend? What can they do to better their chances?
Well, like I said, it's been a rough time at the University of Arkansas the last few years, especially the last 2 years. And me being a graduate of that great school up there in Northwest Arkansas, I know all about the school. I know all about the campus. I really kept a close eye with the program over the last few years. I'm going to start with this. I like the hiring of their new head coach, Sam Pittman, who was formerly the offensive line coach at the University of Georgia. So that's going to be a different mindset, different culture. If you know about Mr. Pittman, he likes big offensive linemen. He likes to run the football. Offensively, I like what Arkansas has done. They brought in a grad transfer quarterback in Felipe Franks, who played a lot of ball here in the SEC. They got a high-level running back in Rakeem Boyd. They got some pretty good defensive players in Xavier Kelly, Bumper Poole. So this is a team, of course, is in transition. I think when you look at the first game against a highly ranked Georgia team, Arkansas is going to do what they're supposed to do. And the culture under Sam Pittman is running the football. And I like one thing that when you look at Arkansas, and no disrespect to Chad Morris, is that Arkansas over the years, to me, has not played Razorback football. And what I mean, if you look at the history of this school, you look at the history of the team, even dating back when the great Jerry Jones was the owner on that 1964 national championship team, Arkansas has always been a team that's basically really been dominant at the line of scrimmage. And even under the years of Brent Bimmel, over the last few years when he was there, Arkansas was a team that stayed competitive because they can run the football. But I like the culture. It's a big task. They're playing the fourth-ranked team in the country. The game is in Fayetteville. So, like I say, Arkansas doesn't have anything to go up, but I like Sam Pittman. I like the culture he's brought up. And it's two coordinators, Kendall Brown, who had an outstanding run over there at Baylor, and then look Barry Odom, who used to be a coach in the Southeastern Conference at Missouri, is handling the defensive side of the ball. So it's going to take time, but it's going to be very interesting that them playing Georgia in the first game of the year, a team that's highly ranked, and we know what Georgia possesses. It's going to be a really, really game where Arkansas doesn't have anything to lose.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. And you mentioned the name Felipe Franks, and the way I've transitioned that is Felipe Franks, we all know he went to Florida, and now, he had that injury. And now, speaking of the quarterbacks now, so coming into this year, UGA thought that Jamie Newman, their transfer from Wake Forest, was thought they were going to be their leading quarterback, but a couple weeks ago, he decided to opt out of the season. So I want to ask you this, Mr. Football. So between the battle of JT Daniels, who's coming in, against Felipe Franks, against these two kind of unproven quarterbacks who are trying to work their way back, who do you think has the advantage?
I mean, of course, JT Daniels is a player, man. I mean, he was a guy under Rivals in 2017, was player of the year, started as a true freshman at USC. Started as a true freshman at USC. Do I have to say any more? Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, O.J. Simpson, Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll, national championships all over the world, man. This guy started at USC as a true freshman. And the only reason he lost his job He tore his ACL in the first game his sophomore year. The other young man, Kendall Savas, came in, played extremely well. Clay Helton, who's the head coach of USC, made a decision that, hey, he was going to go with the guy that had a hot hand. It wasn't like JT Daniels lost the job. And most of all, what I don't understand, I look at a lot of people on the UGA message boards, and some people saying, well, what's his stats? He hasn't really proven anything. But we're talking about a guy that was Rivals Player of the Year at the quarterback position, legitimate 5-star recruit, played at the most powerful school, if you want to say college football, on the West Coast and in college football history. And he loses his job. I think Georgia really has gotten real lucky. And let's be real here today on 100 Yards of Football. Jamie Newman left Georgia because of JT Daniels. He wasn't going to win the job. And you bringing in a quarterback that was very accurate. And remember this, when JT Daniels got hurt his sophomore year at USC, they was playing Fresno State. He was 24 of 35 for 215 yards in the second quarter and had thrown for 1 touchdown. And he's coming into Georgia, where he's coming into an offense run by Todd Monken, former head coach, a guy that was offensive coordinator in the NFL, perfect system. And JT Daniels is going to be very accurate with the football. And I'm going to go a step higher. I'm looking at JT Daniels, and I'm looking at this Georgia football team. To me, in Kirby Smart, this is 6th year, correct? This is going to be his most talented football team just because of the quarterback position. JT Daniels, I'm saying it here today on 100 Yards of Football, is going to be better than Jake Fromm was last year in his offense. The key to me for Georgia, this is a talented football team. Offensive line is still tacked. They still got Justin Schaefer. They still got Ben Cleveland. They still got Trey Hill. These guys have played a lot of football on the offensive line. And they got a left tackle that's coming out of Lithonia High School. Remember this name, Broderick Jones. I know he got hurt in the preseason. He had some controversy. But let me tell you something. The young man out there in DeKalb County can play football. And to me, we talked about Andrew Thomas being a great left tackle, started as a freshman, went on, became a first-round pick in the 2020 NFL draft. Broderick Jones is just as good as him and is going to have a more fabulous career. And we don't have to talk about Georgia running backs. It's Zamir White's time. Do we have to say anything about him, Logan?
Nah, we all know that Georgia's produced some great running backs over the past few years, man, and he's next in line, no doubt.
And then at the wide receiver position, they got a 5-star coming back in George Pickens. To me, that was the main problem last year at the receiver position. But I guarantee you this. Out of that talent freshman receiving class they bringing in, Marcus Ramsey, the other young man, Jermaine Burton, the young man out of the state of Florida, Adrian Smith, the big tight end out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Donnell Washington. If any of those guys get up any production this year, this is a team, Georgia, that can win it all. And I'm not even talking about their defense. They returned at least, looking down their defensive staff, Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, Malik Herring, Trayvon Walker, who's ready to bust out, Nakobe Dean, Monty Rice, Julian Rochester, Eric Stokes, Tyson Campbell, Richard LeCount. Then you throw in Jalen Carter, who's been outstanding, one of the top freshman tackles coming out of the state of Florida on the defensive side of the ball. This defense has a legitimate 8 or 9 players who are going to play in the NFL. This is a very special Georgia football team that can win it all. And to me, the most talented team Kirby Smart has had since he's been in Georgia, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. And Georgia lost some good players last year. But when JT Daniels committed to Georgia and I saw him coming, I saw something like we say in the 901 Memphis, Tennessee. The writing is on the wall. Jamie Newman is finna leave. Hello. Trouble, trouble, trouble.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, JT Daniels, I think he's going to have a solid year, like you said. Like you said, he's got great accuracy. I expect him to have another good year. He's going to bounce back from that injury. I know a lot of people are worried with that. You know, any type of knee injury is always, you know, crucial to any player. It doesn't matter if you're a quarterback or the third returner on the punt team. But so one more question about this, and then we'll wrap things up here. So that defense you're talking about, absolutely loaded on the Georgia side of the football. But let's talk about Arkansas. How are they going to be able to stop that overpowering UGA offense with their defense? How do you think they're going to stack up?
Well, when you look at the football game, as I just mentioned with Arkansas, new coach, new culture. When you look at a game, obviously Georgia has a lot more talent than Arkansas. The big thing in that game is, number one, can Arkansas run the football, control the time of the clock? Number two, one thing I like about coming into this football game is Felipe Franks has played a lot of football at a high level at the University of Florida. Of course, when you got an experienced quarterback, that means that he's not going to probably turn the ball over a lot. He's going to probably play within the frame of the offense. Arkansas has a big-time running back in Rakeem Boyd, who I think is going to play on the next level. From a defensive standpoint, what you want to do, you want to stay in your lanes from if you're looking at Arkansas, your players on the defensive side of the ball, as I mentioned, is David Kelly, Bumper Pool. They have to make plays. And the thing of it's assignment football, because Georgia's not going to do anything different. They're going to spray the ball around the field. They're going to steal. Even though they're bringing in JT Daniels, Georgia's objective is still, to me, going to be able to run the football. But the thing is, when you look at Georgia and their receiving class they brought in, Georgia needs speed, leading them more speed at the receiver position, people that can separate. So it's very simple. Arkansas, play your game, don't turn the football over, and basically be able to run the football against a very talented Georgia team. But this is a trifecta. In a game like this, Arkansas has to almost play a perfect game. Mm-hmm. And in the pandemic, the situation we have throughout the country, like I said, it's a situation where basically you got one team that's talented, other team that's not, and the underdog has to play perfect football. They have to play discipline. And what I like about Arkansas in this game, they're bringing in a very experienced quarterback and a very good football coach that's had a lot of success coaching on the line of scrimmage from an offense standpoint. And it's really, when you look at Georgia over the years, last year, Georgia's been very successful. Offensive line, look at the people that's winning the NFL, Sonny Michel, Nick Chubb. Last year, they had two tackles that win the first round, Andrew Thomas and Isaiah Wilson. You know Sam Pittman is going to bring a lot of culture, and it's going to take time in Arkansas, but in this football game, Pig Soy, all you have to do is play error-free football and don't turn the ball over, and maybe you can stay close with this very talented Georgia team.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Arkansas this upcoming week against the UGA Bulldogs. So, final question, Mr. Turner. What are your predictions on this game? Who will get the win, and who will win, the Bulldogs or the Razorbacks?
Basically, I'm going to say this. I know how the people up there in Northwest Arkansas right now, they got to say, hey, they got to be excited about Sam Pittman. But I'm saying Georgia's going to roll. Georgia needs to make a statement. This is a new kind of situation. They got a very talented quarterback that's coming in. Tom Monken is offensive coordinator. You know, it's all about style points. I'm taking Georgia 38, Arkansas 10.
Hey, I'm right with you on that, man. UGA is going to get the win this week. Hey, I'll go one step further. I'll guarantee a win for the Bulldogs this week against the Razorbacks. And hopefully I can go 1-0 on the season for my predictions. I know you didn't have the best week last week. Hey, we're going to turn it around. New week.
You going to put that out there this morning. Hey, you can't be all the time, my brother.
Well, without further ado, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and share. My Mr. Encyclopedia, Mr. Football, the names go on and on. Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. Thanks for coming on the show, man, talking some great game. And I'm your host, Logan Landers. And I hope you guys enjoy the game this upcoming weekend between the UGA Bulldogs and the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll see you guys soon.